in, European countries here and to America and so forth. But I think the love for travel really started in my own country.
That's beautiful. That is so beautiful. For some, it is very difficult to travel within their country because, like it's expensive, and it can also be like a familial thing. Like the families don't even have that kind of thought. Like, why travel? Like, you got everything right here. Like,
Yeah.
So it's beautiful when people do take the time to explore home and see how rich and how wonderful it is from that inside perspective as well. And like there's so much variance within a country. So it's really amazing to see how other people live differently in your own country.
And just Wanda, on that point, I think now the last 2 years of the pandemic, South Africans have actually started traveling domestically. And, it was, rates came down from these very beautiful, luxury lodges, and South Africans could actually travel their own country during the pandemic. So domestic tourism has actually, come up bright and beautiful during the pandemic. So, there's positives to what has happened in the last 2 years.
Absolutely. That is also wonderful. A lot of times we are seeking the foreign. It's just like, let me go out there in the world, because that's where travel lives, and that's not the case. So I'm so glad that it was a side effect, right?
Yeah,
But
definitely.
we're so happy. Yeah. And Jenny, could you also please share how travel has impacted your life?
Yeah, I am. So my parents were born in Barbados, representing Jamie Lee, and I was born here in the UK. So my very first experience of travel, we didn't go on holidays every year like most of my my school friends did. But my very first experience of travel, I was 7 years old. I flew with Freddie Laker to Barbados, me, my mum and my sister. It was a 9.5-hour flight. And, kids of my age weren't getting on flights, especially going to far-flung places for that long. And we went there for 6 weeks. And we flew out a few days after Christmas. And I remember that impacting me. I got to meet a lot of my family and stuff like that. And from that point, I feel like I had the travel bug, but at 7, didn't really know what that looked like. So it was when I was a little bit older, I got into my 20s, and I decided to very differently go and work a summer season in Ibiza. And I remember meeting a holiday rep when I was out there and thinking, I need to get into travel. And that's actually how I got into travel way back then, a few decades ago. And that really kind of inspired my wanderlust and my itchy feet. So that was my story.
Brilliant. And that is something that is very interesting to me because of the various backgrounds that you have and how you were able to use your skill sets to segue into travel. So like Tinique, of course, you got your degree in event management, and travel has popped up on your radar. So can you tell us, like, in your experience, because you've had so many years of, it's 7 years, I believe, 6 years, producing events, how you segued yourself into producing travel events?
I would say I saw opportunity during a lockdown because there was a lot of people who were working from home and didn't have that personal connection with their colleagues and their clients. So I thought incentive travel will be perfect because this will reunite people to say thank you for all the work that you've done during the lockdown. You've been working from home, but I want to reward you. I want to reward my clients. I want to reward my colleagues. So I felt there'll be a great opportunity for me to utilize my event management skills to help clients as well as colleagues plan impactful incentive travel, just to say thank you to all the colleagues and clients throughout the pandemic. So I thought that was a great demand and great way that I can utilize my event management logistics skills and planning skills to deliver a memorable incentive travel event. So yeah.
So that's really wonderful to take all of your in-person producing experience and like translate that so that people still feel connected. And I think that was a common theme throughout the world, like people not feeling connected to one another. And so you being able to translate that, and that's really wonderful. And then Chantal, like you have a youth ministry degree, and you were a manager of a dental practice for 9 years. Like, how did you segue?
Yeah, it's really strange. I worked as a youth worker and a community developer for many years. So I was really on the ground with the people in beautiful areas in South Africa. And my really appreciation for the people of South Africa, you know, them telling different stories. Yes, then I was with my husband, supporting my husband in his business at a dental practice, where I also just absolutely enjoyed, you know, the customer service that I offered, and really just, making patients feel calm before they see the dentist. And actually just 5 years ago, then I ventured into, wanting to try something new and started working for a travel company in South Africa, where I was obviously doing bookings and operational management for educational tours, and specifically in wildlife and conservation as well. And, you know, for person of color, I don't want to say colored, because in the UK that term is not, really appreciated. But you must know that in South Africa, being a colored, it's a common word, and I don't take offense. So for me, it was then the opportunity to actually travel with my travel company and going to these absolutely beautiful places. This literally just happened 5 years ago. It was just expensive to travel. You can't afford these places. And when I worked in this travel company, my eyes opened to, the luxury, the safaris, and I absolutely love animals as well. So I just took my years of community, involvement, my years in the travel industry, in the travel company. And when I came to the UK and obviously finding out here, doing a little bit of research, is there any woman promoting South Africa? Is there any South Africans promoting South Africa? And I literally came to 3 operators based in the UK that actually promote South Africa. The rest, which there are many, are obviously English based. And I saw this opportunity to, as a woman of color, just take this opportunity and give travelers a real authentic look of what South Africa is really about, and also creating then real authentic experiences where travelers and the locals benefit, and where, there's an appreciation of both sides. And I thought, I'm going to run with that. So for the last 3 years, I've just combined, whatever I did in life before, and created Temba Travel.
And Jenny, you actually had 14 years of working in corporate before you segued yourself into doing what you do now, training, development, coaching. And that was your experience as well. So tell us what the last 11 years have been like for you.
So yeah, mine's a kind of a back to front and upside down. I started off in travel for many years, and then fell into, of all industries, financial services. So as if travel, and you'd think going all around the world, that wasn't really that diverse there, it wasn't multicultural at all. So I leapt out of there into a very, white male dominated environment. But somehow I managed to navigate that. I was well respected. And in a way, I think your last speaker kind of alluded to this, but in a way, when people say go for it, I really mean go for it. Don't let any kind of perception stop you. I did really well in the financial services industry. And what I decided to do in the last 11 years was actually diversify so that I would be across industries. I still do a lot of work now with travel. And, I guess what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I would say to anyone out there, if you are facing an environment where there is still hostility where you are, You always have choices, number one. You always have choices to extend and expand. But I would say in the last 11 years, following my time in financial services and thinking it was just a happy accident, I actually quadrupled my salary in 2 years and got promoted 3 times. I kind of realised from my clients asking me, they seemed really interested in this. How did you stand out? What did you do? And that and the skills that all of you have listening to this, that you're always able to, you know, diversify across the industry. And I really want people to know that, because I've done it. I've seen the same glass ceilings, I've seen the same obstacles, and I know that you can. Sometimes you might be in an environment that kind of tries to tell you you can't. My advice is run, don't walk, but there you go.
So that is extremely important, being able to get through the challenges. People are like, go for it, just do it. Whatever you have inside you, you can make into an apple pie. And it's a little bit more to the story than just that. So that's a very important question that I would like to ask all of you, and I'll leave it open to whoever would like to chat about it first. But how were you able to get through the challenges? How were you able to keep going, particularly in the last year? But also, like, when you were first starting off, when you were figuring out how to make this something that could sustain you in life, how were you able to get through these resistance points to creating income from your skill set in the travel industry?
I'd love to start off and kind of follow on. I'd like to start by just offering quick tips, because people are always like, well, what happened? What did you do? What did you say to get past that? And I realized that in my own experiences, there were 5 key steps. So I had a happy accident in creating a system that helps. I'm going to give everybody this now. There are 5 key things to do when you're faced with any challenge. I didn't know it back then when I created this like 11 years ago. And I actually thought in the last 18 months and all the tough situations, I thought to myself, well, this stuff's not going to work anymore. There's a global pandemic. How do you get through it? And I'll be honest with you, March 2020, I thought I was going to have to close my business. I lost 90% of my clients. Nobody knew what was happening. And I just got curious and wondered whether these things would still work. So as I prepared to maybe go and work in a supermarket, I tried out the steps for myself just to see, well, which bits would work now, which bits wouldn't. And actually, to my surprise, it's what got me through. So if you write down the word vibes, V for Victor, I India, B for Bravo, E for Echo, S for Sierra, the 5 key steps that you will always need to kind of dip in and out of to be able to go through any challenge. V is visibility. You can't sit behind the scenes, do a good job and hope that you'll get noticed. At the same time, visibility isn't about you degrading somebody else. It's about you really standing out and showing the value that you bring. So do that regardless of any circumstances. The second step is about making an impact. Some people don't like impact. They like the thought of, well, what impression do I leave? So whether for you, impact speaks to you or leaving an impression, it's what people say about you when you leave the room. So I for impact. B, the third step is biography. Your story matters. Believe it or not, those struggles, those tussles, those doubts, those crises in confidence are things that actually help your environment, even in a professional setting. So it could be the story or stories of you, but it could be the story of the thing that you do, the life that you bring into the world. As Chantal was sharing about looking for travel companies that were South African based. So learn how to tell those stories. And I know that you've got that coming as well. The fourth step is your energy. One of the things I find, particularly more so with women of colour, and also anybody who identifies as female as well, is that we often are complimented and go, oh, no, it's okay, it was just a thing that I did. And we can have a tendency to shrink backwards and not claim and own our energy. So the fourth step is our energy. Value who you are, get to know who you are and really put that out there. And then the fifth step is a kind of a cheap step. It's an S, but there's 2 underneath it. Learn how to speak out and speak. It's not just about public speaking, but learn how to communicate effectively and speak. If you need to sell an idea, a concept, a holiday, yourself, learn how to do that well. Take time to learn how to do that really well. And the other side of that, of course, with the S is selling. We could be selling a movement, a concept. Jamie Lee does this really fantastically. She speaks and people want more and, buy into you. You do this as well really well, Wanda. I know you've got a podcast. So you sell the concept of empowering people. All of us have got that in us. So, pick the piece that you think, I really need to do that more. But the visibility piece is key, because that's where you'll find the struggle. Overriding all of that, how to get through any tough challenges. It's all about, I want to say mindset, but not in the traditional sense of the word. It's how we think about things. Don't watch so much information that tells you can't, doom and gloom. Decide how you're going to move ahead, create it and move forward. Really think differently about it. And it sounds a bit like, really? Is that it? Is it not more confusing or complicating? But that's what got me through this 18 months. And I feel really blessed for that. And that's why I wanted to share that with you all. So that's how I got through the challenges.
And for anyone who's connecting with what Jenny is saying, please reach out to her and ask her about a story about a waterfall, a wig, and a mask she figured out she was wearing later on. Please reach out to her about that. It is an excellent story. And then Chantal or Tinique, did either one of you want to speak to that, how you've been able to face your challenges personally and professionally?
Yes, and for me it was finding out, that lack of representation, and actually that motivated me greatly. Now, of course, in a pandemic year, travel company, you would think, oh, we're not going anywhere. But I agree with Jenny, to be visible and to be out there is one of the important things. And for me, it's also, even though nothing has happened in this year, I think the bigger picture, why I do what I do, has been my motivation. And I know that there's lots to be done and lots to be changed. This narrative has to be changed. And I think that has been my biggest drive. The fact that I want people to see South Africa in a whole picture. I want, UK citizens that loves traveling to South Africa, more than 400,000 annually goes to South Africa. They need to see a different picture. And I think that's my motivation. Just because I have traveled my country is not always marketed on mainstream the way I have seen it. So I really want to see, have people and travelers see it how I see it. And like Jenny said, your whole life story is part of, who you are and what you represent here. So there's loads of stories to tell, but being visible, even when things are not happening, is so, so important. But my biggest motivation is that impact that needs to be made. And for me, it's important that a social impact is made, and that is my driving force.
So you even pivoted to doing Facebook Live because you weren't able to, have people come and travel freely.
Yes, and of course, and I actually, I thought by myself, what can I do? What can I do? And I actually had a lot of Facebook Lives where I then had my wildlife and conservation ecologists talk, and we had a virtual safari. I had, the ladies that we use to do our welcome pack, they sew it and they are creatives. I had them on Facebook to tell, their journey. So I didn't have anyone to, other than give people just a picture of the South Africans and the people in the industry and the people that I use in the industry, so that you can just get familiar. And really for me, it wasn't having interviews with big names or anything. My passion has been the community heroes. And so I've created on Instagram lives just, 10 to 15 minute conversations of what they do on the ground. What is it that travelers can expect when they come there? So I'm an advocate for community tourism, really, and for the local people. So I have not sat on my laurels. I think the last 18 months I've been busier than ever. But yeah, visibility is so important.
You also talked about your why, and I love how much your passion comes through. So Timba means hope. So it
Yes.
comes through in the name of your business alone, but then you talk about connecting people with places on purpose. You talk about being passionate about restoring dignity, breaking the poverty cycle, and women empowerment. And so in your work, that looks like you not focusing on the big operators, like you really trying to drive money to the people in the actual community, which is so important when it comes to travel.
It's so
because
important.
Hilton gonna get their money, Marriott gonna get their money, right? Any of the tour companies who were probably not even built by local people, they're gonna get their money because they have the budget, right? They have the advantages that come with not being a local. And so
absolutely. And we can't just go to destinations and ignore what the majority of the country is dealing with. South Africa has 90% of Black and people of color, and literally 8% of white people. Yet, the wealth of the country, 70-80% sits with that 8% of white people. And to me, that's completely skewed. It's not balanced. And how are we going to change that? By really being intentional, even in tourism, where we take our people, what kind of experiences, they can enjoy, where the locals actually benefit from that. So that's my passion, just to see that, those profits are being spread equally to all society, to all people in society, but because it just goes to a certain part. And that needs to change. And how do we change it? By being intentional, even in our itineraries, where we send people. Who do we use to come and pick you up from the airport? Is it a local? Is it a small vendor? Is it a gogo, like we say, an older African woman? Do we empower that gogo that crafts beautiful gifts that she can give to our travelers? So it's my responsibility. It's my responsibility. That's why I do it.
that's beautiful. Thank you so much. And Tinique, please, can you share with us as well? What were you able to say to yourself to give yourself the permission to transfer your skills into doing more travel related events?
Well, the event industry and the travel industry was heavily affected by the global pandemic, which affected me mentally and emotionally, because I'm an in-person kind of person. I love doing in-person events. I'm so interactive. I love that personal one-on-one experience. And so what helped me to get through the global pandemic is my why, my purpose. I know that my purpose is to help entrepreneurs plan impactful events, increase their brand awareness. And I'm my faith as well. I allowed my faith to get the better of me instead of fear. So I was honing in on my faith and believing in my faith. And I felt like, what would I need to do to help increase my visibility? So I was always on LinkedIn. I was always on my Instagram, showing my face that I am visible, I am here, I'm helping you to pivot from an in-person event to virtually. I can provide you with that same experience as an in-person event as a virtual event. So I think I had to pivot quickly to virtual events and helping my clients deliver impactful virtual events. So I was there helping with my visibility, and I wanted to showcase how virtual events can still be an impactful event to help increase entrepreneurs' brand awareness. So overall, I would say my faith and my purpose got me through the global pandemic and just motivated me, because I love events, everything to do with events and travel, and I know this is my purpose. So that is something that really helped me throughout the global pandemic.
So it is sometimes rare to see someone who has a degree in something and them actually like pursue an actual like legitimate career in that thing. Like, yeah, I think you're the only one. My background is radio, TV production. That's why I got my degree in that. That's not really what I'm doing. So it's amazing that you are still persisting in that. And for everybody, I wanted to share Tinique's Instagram, so that's in the chat. Please go check that out because it is just video after video after still just serving so much value to help you to understand what exactly goes on in what goes into planning an event. She talks about like the 5 senses, like she really gets into detail and takes you into the experience of producing an event. So like, how did you know that event production was something you wanted to pursue, and what has helped you to stay in it for so long?
I initially wanted to become a chef, actually. So I was like, yeah, I want to become a chef. I always had an entrepreneur mind, so I wanted to own my own restaurant, which was called Tinique Caribbean Flavors, because it infused my Grenadian side and Jamaican side. So I originally wanted to be a chef. But then I thought it was more of a hobby because my hair was getting messy and it was all stuck in the kitchen. I'm like, that's not for me. So then what else can I do? And I'm passionate about maths. So I thought, let me just be an accountant. So I went to the University of Hertfordshire opening day, and I went to the accountancy opening day course, and I was like, no, this is not for me. I'm bored. And then I saw event management. I was like, oh my God, this is right up my street. I used to love planning events for all my friends and families. I thought, yeah, let me just go and see what it is. And then I've never looked back. It's just my skill set. I'm very logistical. I'm always thinking ahead. I'm always planning 2-3 weeks in advance. So I thought this is perfect for me. And I think I'm a personal kind of person. So I love interacting with people. I'm a people person. So I was like, yes, this is the best. And I love events in itself. So yeah, so I think that's what led me into doing events, is going to University of Hertfordshire's open day in events management. And I've never looked back. And yeah, that's why I feel like my passion is pursuing my business and my career in the industry. So my passion is leading me.
Those 12-hour days are no joke, right?
I know. I know, you have to be passionate. So yeah, it's no joke.
Thank you so much. I believe that we mentioned representation, and that can be important. If you don't see yourself in the places where you would like to go, that can be such a deterrence. So I wanted to ask all of you, and I'll again leave this open to whomever would like to go first. How has representation or lack thereof shaped your journey to you saying, I want to do this thing, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to persist in this thing, and to keep that momentum going? How has representation or lack of it helped you to, or hindered you from showing up?
Yeah, for me, I think, it was a no-brainer. I didn't see myself or anyone looking like me promoting my country. And I actually didn't even think twice about it. I thought this is the opportunity, because I was, if there's nobody, then there's me. I might as well then just do this. But it comes, like I said, out of the years of traveling your own country, appreciating your own people, just finding what beautiful gems they are and wanting to share them with the world. And I stand fully in this role where I've said to myself, I'm gonna pursue this, because I would want to represent my country. I not just as, in the tourism industry, but as a woman of color in the industry. And we do look differently when we put itineraries together as women. We do think of all kinds of things. I mean, I will just, put a whole itinerary together for you, but probably each and every step of the way, there's going to be somebody local benefiting from it, looking for that opportunities. Where can I use this one? Who can make us a meal? Are we going to a restaurant? No, because I know of a, fantastic auntie that makes home cooked meals, or, has a smaller restaurant, and I need to support her, so I want to take my guests there. And how will people see that if we just take them to the restaurants, if we just take them to the places that's owned by just white people? How will they know? So I will show them. So that's how I will represent.
Thank you so much. And just imagine how you're paving the way for everybody that's seeing the work that you're doing, and for them to say, yes, I could do that too. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, the more and more I speak about my passion, and people like you just now say, just, you know, you're paving the way for, and I don't always think that way, but I have to, because in my culture, this is not, you know, done. We are the receptionist, the booking officer in this industry. There's nothing wrong with being there. I started there, but you can own your own enterprise. You can be the one making the decisions. And as we hear over and over, it's people on the top, it's the, you know, the senior people that makes decisions. And you need to place yourself in that position where you can make the decisions. And I keep on forgetting that and don't think about too much, but yes, it is for creating a role model as well for people in my culture, and to just see that you can do this. It is possible. It takes a lot of hard work, but it's absolutely possible.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And ladies, Jenny or Tinique?
Yeah, I think there's value to, if you don't see yourself in certain places, you know, as Chantal shared, get into those spaces, you know, even as recently as, I'm trying to think, earlier this month, I went to a travel networking that was in London, and represented, and I think sometimes we sometimes need to do more to put ourselves out in those places and spaces as well. Don't worry about what, you know, other people are like there, because at the end of the day, it's the best way to make yourself memorable. You know, why not use that opportunity? You will be memorable, you know, more people will know about you and what you do. So really do get out into those spaces. And I go to a lot of networking. I enjoy it. I enjoy meeting new people, and you know, it's interesting, unless the event is, you know, has got diversity or, you know, or something like that attached to it, often we're underrepresented. So it's time for us to represent ourselves. And sometimes, you know, I know it can get exhausting, but sometimes it's about breaking the stereotypes, you know, busting the myths of what people think we are or who they think we are, and go out and kind of show them how dynamic you are. So, yeah.
How do you reinforce yourself? So that's double work. So there's the work of you getting through your own personal challenges, right? To say, you know, I'm good enough, I'm worthy, I can actually make this happen. And then there's this secondary work of showing up in spaces where there's not so many people that look like you. And you may have somebody reach out to take a handful of your hair, or you have them saying backhanded things like, oh, you're so well spoken, and ridiculous things like that. How do you reinforce yourself to continue to show up? So yes, you deserve to be in those places and there's opportunities there, but it also comes with some wear and tear, doesn't it?
It does. And, you know, even how I sound, and I reflected on this really deeply after what happened with George Floyd. I always refer to it as the public murder of George Floyd. I realised that this work in visibility, part of the reason why it feels purpose-led, it's so deep. Part of the reason why I've been so good at this is because I've had to like navigate, as many of us have, every day of our life, almost like choosing our battles. Should we say something when somebody's made a comment? And I think absolutely yes. And I think one of the things that we have learned in the last, you know, 18 months to 2 years, it is like make a stand for something. I was speaking to somebody recently about this, and you know, somebody does something that is inappropriate, or you do put yourself in a space like that, which actually doesn't won't happen as often as you think when you go to the spaces that you love. But if they do, tell them. I don't get angry, I don't shout, I don't raise my voice. I just say, that's not okay, this is why. And I tell them. So I often don't get that, because it's almost like I go in and wear a shield. And then the other thing is, if you're feeling like you kind of need to rev yourself up and prepare yourself up for the space, there's all sorts of things. There's meditation, there's affirmation, but here's the best thing to do. Get a bit of music moving through your body. My personal favorite is Midas Touch by, back in the day. I could be walking down the street, got my headphones on, that's what I'm listening to. I'm reminding myself of who I am. Always remind yourself of who you are. You are more than the narratives that are out there. And when you do that, it's like people pick that up by osmosis. They pick that by osmosis, and they will follow your lead, not the other way around. So, I'm not negating that sometimes it can be tough out there, but at the same time, the thing I know about people of colour is they have a power to them, they have a strength. Sometimes that's exactly why people try to kind of knock them back in their place. Show that power, go for it. That's what I would advise.
Say that again, okay?
It's true.
I'll also add, so in addition to building yourself up, therapy is beautiful. Please go get a therapist. Also having a friend group or creating a friend group. Maybe you got some boss babes, I think is the term they're using these days, where you can vent about this type of stuff and keep going. So I think it's very much that understanding the circumstances that we're moving through, talking about it, and like continuing to pursue it, because what they're not going to do is stop this, okay? And
I love what Jenny.
Oh, go ahead.
I love what Jenny said, Wanda, about putting the music on. I mean, really, as Black people, we just naturally have the rhythm. We've got it. So we have it inside of us. Just bring it out, especially at those times when those voices are so loud, saying that you should be quiet. You shouldn't be saying this. Don't make a comment on that. Just accept that. Put the music on and just be reminded who you are. So thanks, Jenny.
Now, you may not be able to dance in the middle of a conference, but we get what you're saying. We get what you're saying. But I think that's pivotal as well. There's so much research that's done into how our emotions are pent up in our body. And I think that making conscious choices to move your body helps you to release some of the stress, release some of the things that are, pinging on you, that are trying to cling to you. Tinique, can you please share with us as well?
I would say there's like a lack of diversity in the event industry. So you tend to see a lot of Caucasians event professionals being asked to be a panel discussion or a guest speaker. So for me, I want to be seen and heard as a go-to Black event professional who's paving the way for other Black event professionals who either want to get in the event industry or want to have their own business. So my visibility is key. So like Jenny, I love attending networking events just to get myself out there, just to let people know what I can do and my skill sets and how I can deliver their events to the highest standard. So I just want to be seen and heard, and so increase my visibility is one of my top priorities as a business owner, as a Black event professional in the event industry. I just want people to know that they can come to me as opposed to a Caucasian person or someone else. I just wanted people to feel comfortable coming to me and know that I'm able to deliver their impactful events. So that's amazing for me.
And I also want to ask all of you, it's really important to celebrate. And if you don't know that it is, then you need to know that, right? Because it's a slog every day. The to-do list is never ending. The possibilities are never ending. And so I believe that celebration is a way that we are present in the moment to say, wow, I am doing this, and this is how far I've come, and this is what I've been able to accomplish. So in celebrating each of you, can you please share with us what you've been most proud to accomplish to this moment? And it doesn't have to be Nobel Peace Prize, right? Because it just doesn't. So please share with us what you are most proud of accomplishing to this point, and let us celebrate you.
I'll start off. So I'm going to share what I'm most proud of accomplishing in just a second. I think it's important what you've just said. We do not celebrate ourselves anywhere near enough as a race of human beings, full stop. You can do all sorts of things. I now, after like many years of not getting it, I now make sure I get my nails done. You know, yes, I can do them myself and everything else, but I get my nails done regularly. I will treat myself. I like having flowers, so I will buy myself the flowers. I'm not waiting for the man to buy them or somebody else to buy them for me. So pay attention to that. Give yourself time off. And one of my other things, you know, I've spoken a lot about music, a shower speaker. Oh my gosh, completely life-changing. Stick that speaker in the shower. You can dance in the shower. You can listen to podcasts in the shower or Clubhouse, as long as you don't get pulled up on stage. It's life-changing, seriously. Do whatever it takes to make yourself feel good, and know what it is that makes yourself feel good. Because if you don't know that, it's hard to celebrate yourself. But the thing that I would say I'm most proud of, given how tough it was going into the pandemic, you know, for all of us, was to not only be nominated and shortlisted for an event in the travel industry. This time, well, a little bit kind of earlier this time last year, the ITT Future You, which is how I met Jamie Lee. I was nominated and shortlisted, and then won Mentor of the Year. And I'll be honest, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I was with such amazing people. And I remember watching the live conference as it went by. I really didn't think I was going to win it. And I'm glad it wasn't like this. I sobbed. I couldn't speak for a couple of hours. I was so taken aback. That feels like one of my proudest moments. I've done some great things. I've been on the BBC, you know, and I've spoken at Google and all of that, and they're nice. But that one, to have that level of appreciation, a panel sat in the room, they looked at all of the entries. There were like, I think 11 or 12 of those entries. And I came out on top. Like, how did that happen? And I hold that dear, because I have to say that, you know, the ITT Future You and the ITT, they are one of the most accepting, diverse organizations that I've come across in a long time, and they don't even try to be. So I felt really, really proud. That was one of my proudest moments.
And that means something as well coming from you, because I know that you've struggled to take time away from your business. Like, it took you, I believe you said 7 years, to not feel guilty about just taking some time off. So congrats to you, girl.
Thank you. And if I can do it, all of you can do that and much more.
Come on. And Chantal or Tinique?
I think, for me, it's very important to celebrate yourself. We, like Jenny said, we're so busy with the cause that we forget about ourselves. But I really start with gratitude every day. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for, you know, seeing a new day. So it keeps me grounded. It made me appreciate just the smaller things in life, which I really, really pursue. But celebrating myself, it's just giving time to myself. And I think it comes in the mornings when, you know, after your gratitude, you are just quiet and you just remind yourself who you are, or you let someone else remind. Because sometimes it's, you know, you have those days with somebody else, you have to put some podcast on, or Les Brown, or somebody that just says to you, you are amazing. So definitely do that. And I start my day with that, because that is how I want to kick off the day. The proudest moment, I don't have many years as, you know, Temba Travel, but I think just changing people's minds about what they can see and what it is about in South Africa, just sharing that information. And early in the year, I'm also part of a Women in Digital Business group, and I'm sharing with them. We all have different businesses, women, underrepresented, women of color, and everyone doing different businesses. And when I shared, about the country, it's like, and they're all UK-based Black women, and they were like, we don't know that about South Africa. And they were like, tell us more, tell us more. So I think just to change people's minds and just giving them a different story, that opportunity every time. And I've been invited for many things to share that. And I just stand in that place of, just being very grateful to be in that place to change your mind. And I know that I need to continually do that. And so I think for me, just every opportunity where I can change your mind and share that, I think I'm proud of those moments.
Yes, and that is enough, more than enough. That's beautiful. Thank you. And Tinique, hey girl.
I like music as well, so I always start my day off with soca music because I'm Grenadian, so we live, breathe soca music, so that just keeps me alive, keeps me going, keeps me happy. I always listen to soca music in the gym as well, it just keeps me motivated. And also doing affirmations and my faith as well. Just thanking God and blessing God, blessing me with my purpose. And my biggest accomplishment is actually my business, Hay Events, just being the proud business owner of Hay Events, and opportunities that has presented to me whilst being a business owner, such as being features on the Voice newspaper and being asked to be guest speakers at amazing events like this. So yeah, my biggest accomplishment is owning my own business, Hay Events, and helping entrepreneurs plan impactful events. So those are my two biggest accomplishments to date.
Thank you for sharing. You all have been so fantastic, so wonderful, so rich, so all of that. Y'all are all of that. I would love to get some questions from the other folks who are listening. What kind of questions do you have for these ladies that relate to travel, the travel industry, their specific businesses? Timba Travels, Jenny as a visibility coach, Tinique with Hay Events. Do you have anything that you want to ask them?
Well, I have a question.
Wanda?
I have a question. It's me, it's Jamie Lee. I have a question, and it's around, you asked around like celebrating and how to celebrate. I find it quite challenging to like celebrate things. My mind is always moving to what next, and I find I don't even take enough time to like really, you know what, Jamie Lee, I think that you did a great job on that particular. I never actually do that. Like while I'm doing the finishing up that thing, I'm thinking about what's the next thing to get onto. I don't know if it's a problem of like wanting to be an overachiever, but how do you celebrate? And I'm finding it so challenging and so hard to, find ways to celebrate myself, I guess, in some ways, or how to take that time to really acknowledge something, a job well done. So any advice on that would be
yes. You have a whole husband, and he is capable of watching them kids, and he needs to do that, and you need to go do something just for you. That's exactly what that looks like. You can celebrate with them. Usually when I ask people how they like to celebrate, it's usually with friends and family, food, bubbles, whatever that looks like. And maybe that's for the bigger occasions, but I think that, people are beside you a lot of times, but they don't know how torn up inside you are about continuing to push forward and make things happen in your life. They're right next to you, but they don't know what it feels like. And so from the outside, and it's like, you doing great. You are always motivated. Sometimes you have doubts, but like for the most part, you that girl. So you're the only one that's with you 24/7 that knows exactly what you are moving out of the way, what you are healing from, what you are making happen in your life. And so that could just look like you taking a walk and being like, you did that. That could be you sitting with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee somewhere with no other agenda. you taking a moment to just internalize that. Chantal talks about opening her day with gratitude and meditation, and like being able to see herself. This is very much about seeing yourself, and you have to make the time to do that. You have to step away from the laptop. You have to put down the phone and spend time.
Hard, isn't it?
But that's where it happens. It's not gonna happen in front of your laptop. You're not gonna love yourself in front of your laptop. You're not gonna love yourself while you're holding your phone scrolling through social media. You're paying attention to other stuff. That's you looking outward. You have to look inside. And so that very much looks like you stepping away and being like, hi, I'm in here in this meat shell. And like, I have these aspirations, and I've been really putting this work in, and I'm really doing amazing. Yes, there are things I want to do. Yes, the vision continues, whatever. But right now, here today, like, I am doing it. I started here. I started like way back here with nothing. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know anyone. And I've made progress, and I see this progress that I've made. And like, this is another achievement. This is something that I checked off my to-do list, but like, I checked it off my to-do list. You know, I'm making this happen. This is happening. So I think that's what it looks like. And maybe go get a manicure, because then you can't have nothing in your hands. You know what I'm saying? And you get cute nails at the end of it. But
that's a good idea.
How can you step away from the work to enjoy what you've been able to create? Go out for a drink. You take yourself on a date. Like I said, the other people are nice and they're kind of around, you know, but like spending that quality time with yourself, deeply appreciative of yourself and what you've been able to do, I think is exactly how you celebrate.
Can I just say, Wanda and Jamie Lee, that was something that I have struggled with for years. I wouldn't say I'm out of the woods. There was a bridge between me saying I'm getting my nails done. You know, I'm 49 years old and I started this habit in June this year. So, you know, all my friends for years, come get it. No. And I did that for that reason. I can't have anything in my hand. I just have a time to sit. But I found it hard. It was like, but kind of, what am I celebrating? And here's how I got through that. Because you're a doer and need to do things, every morning before you do anything, open up a note on your phone and call it gratitude. And force yourself, it will feel like forcing it, start off with 3 things that I'm grateful for, and list them down. And as the day goes through, if there's something else that pops up, keep adding to it. And the other way we're going to celebrate you is, you're in London, I'm going to grab you and take you somewhere. So let's get that in the diary. Ask me what celebrations look like. Doesn't have to be bougie or expensive. I'm grabbing you, Jamie Lee. I'm going to take you somewhere that you're going to love. In the daytime, you know, bring the kids if you want.
That sounds good. That sounds like a good plan. But thank you so much for that small therapy session. There's a question from the audience here as well. It's from Rupa. She says, I have a question for everybody who wishes to answer. At this stage, with the financial struggles, where do the main rejections for BME professionals come from? Is it the tourism boards, travel tourism agencies, operators, or is it the DMCs, for example? I think we experience rejections from all of them, firstly. As a whole, I mean, do you mind coming? Do you want to unmute yourself and elaborate a little bit more, Rupa, if you're still here?
I just want to maybe say to Rupa, all of those places have rejected me because of those reasons of, you're a woman, you're a Black woman. They want to see, what do you own and what do you have before we part with our money. I know that is how it goes when you want to apply for a grant or a loan or whatever. But I have actually just last night spoken to someone at the event, about a big company that promotes, we want women in business. And then when you get to them and you fill out the form and you have that conversations, you still don't make it. So I'm so used to that. And I just decided in this time of not making any sales, I'm going to go work. And I worked for my local council for the last 18 months. So you just have to make it work for you, and you have to go out there and work it, girl, because waiting on people, waiting on institutions to say, yes, we are okay with you, we accept you, you know, they're not even in my mind, because I know it's up to me to make this work. And so I will do whatever I have to, like Jenny mentioned, you know, wanting to even go work in a supermarket or whatever. It's twice as hard for us. It's twice as hard. So I am doing whatever it takes to keep on going. And like I said before, the motivation is really that bigger picture of why you do this, why are you doing this? And you will then do whatever it takes. But rejection is just part of life, part of this industry, and it's just hard to get finance for an industry that, you know, only a few weeks ago came into being again, you know, when doors opened. So we were like right at the end, you know, to be open and to be functioning again. So you cannot wait until people say it's okay. You have to make it work for you. I hope that helps.
Can I add something as well? I think that was really great advice. A wise man once said, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. So this might feel like tough love, and it isn't supposed to be. You asking your question and say, it was where you say something like, with the financial struggles, that is an affirmation. This is hard financial struggles. And I tell you why I say that. Even though it has been a tough environment, I do know of travel companies that have still managed to do okay despite everything. So when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. Ask yourself, what would I prefer more than the financial struggle, number one? And then rather than looking for places that you won't be rejected from, look for what you would rather have than rejection. And when you start to kind of wear it in your mind, people, like, doors open, people make opportunities. I'm going to shout out Wanda here because she has a fantastic community on Facebook. When you start surrounding yourself with people who are going through, we're all going through the same sort of challenges. But when you surround yourself with people who lift you up, people who can show you what's possible, even when the world is saying it's not, you will feel different. And that will help with how you're feeling about this sort of stuff. I know it's tough for all of you, and I don't want any of you to think that I'm burying my head in the sand with this. You know, I told you 90% of my business went overnight, you know, in March. What I did was I started to kind of protect myself, protect my own mindset. I spent time with people. I was amazed to hear of a travel company in that first lockdown that did over $1 million in sales. When I heard that, I was like, hold on, I'm sorry, what? How did they do that? Don't they know there's a pandemic on? And then I thought, well, if they can do it, then so many others can. And whilst I'm not an active travel company, I can help people with the mindset in travel. So let me serve from that place. Let me start showing other people what's possible. So I really hope that you put yourself in those spaces, and that itself will build you up, and things will feel different. At the start, nothing will change physically, but the way you think about it will change, and that will open up so many opportunities. But yeah, reach out to any of us on social media if you want to know more.
She says, Rupert says, thank you very much for that advice. I think something's happened to Wanda, I'm not sure, but thank you. I can't hear you anymore.
It's just my mic, I'm sorry.
I couldn't hear you.
I was just talking to myself. I was just thanking the ladies. And I didn't want to overstep on the time. So I was shouting you out, actually.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. That was a really insightful discussion, very inspiring as well. Gleaned a lot of different information from you guys. Some things that I'm gonna try to put in place for myself or as well. Chantal, I see you waving. Are you okay? Is everything
Yeah,
okay?
I'm fine.
No, okay. Thought you wanted to say something. But so thank you so much for taking the time out. Nelly, are we able to play the video from Caroline now for everyone?
Allowing me to be one of your speakers at your annual event. This event is a great platform, especially in the UK, for those in the travel industry to connect, learn, and amplify our voices. My name is Caroline, and I am the founder of Travel Eat Slay, a travel apparel brand and community of travel enthusiasts. Born out of a passion for travel, I was inspired to create a souvenir that travelers could bring along their trips. With 3 words evoking feelings of independence, power, and a really good time, Travel Eat Slay is more than apparel. It is a movement, a community connecting travelers through the mutual interest for travel, food, and fashion. It is relatable. In 2016, while working at my former job, a job that allowed me to travel to amazing destinations, stay at luxurious hotels, I had the idea of creating this brand. Getting started was a little bit bumpy as I did not have any prior experience in sourcing suppliers, building a website, marketing, and overall running a business. I was lucky to have a creative friend who helped me with a logo. And that's how my first t-shirt was created. I wore it every time I traveled for my actual job and shared it on Instagram. And it started getting messages from people asking where they could purchase the t-shirts. This was the first time I realized I was onto something. Opening an e-commerce shop via Etsy and sourcing printing suppliers were the next steps. I was successful in collaborating with social media influencers to help me promote and showcase my apparel to increase brand awareness. Fast forward to 2018, interest was increasing for my apparel brand. However, I was no longer feeling fulfilled in my job. There was no more room for me to progress professionally, and my motivation was pulling me towards building my brand. So I decided to quit my job. This freedom led me to take my first ever solo trip. I visited Cuba, I went to Morocco, and it was during those trips that I was inspired to organize group trips. This would be a best companion for my apparel brand. In 2019, I organized my first trip. It was a day trip. After receiving messages on social media from followers asking to travel with me, I decided to test the waters a little bit. The trip to Nice attracted 6 girls who shared a mutual interest for travel and trying out new experiences. As we documented our trip on social media, this led to more interest, people asking to join the next trip. As a result, in 2019, I organized 13 group trips to destinations such as Oslo, Stockholm, Copenhagen, Venice, Madrid, organically, a community and a travel club to make new friends and travel with like-minded people was created. The trips attracted mainly women of color and served as a way for them to step out of their comfort zone and travel fears and travel without breaking the bank. Along the way, I also secured brand partnerships with tourist destinations such as Visit Stockholm, Bologna Welcome, and brands like Toy Shape and National Express. I decided to stretch my skills a little bit and organize social events in London in the form of sip and paint events, where attendees would learn new skills, network, and have a good time. Though 2020 kicked off with a bang with a group trip to Milan and my first event of the year. News of the UK going into national lockdown and overall panic for the global pandemic was disturbing. I had a mixture of emotions. My anticipated growth plan for my business was on hold, and I had to cancel a group trip and even an event that I had planned in April. As we settled into the lockdown, talking about travel became a taboo and was viewed as insensitive during a global pandemic. While brainstorming ideas of how to pivot my business, I created a social media plan to tap into my community and offer a platform for travelers to showcase destination and their experiences. These story takeovers would serve as a purpose to educate, entertain, and keep the wanderlust alive until travel resumed. They were also a tool to broaden my brand to a new audience. Following the Black Lives Matter movement, I created the Black Travel Directory, which is a resource with over 200 Black travel brands, content creators, service providers, and this resource was created out of the frustration of the lack of recognition and diversity at events, press trips, and campaigns within the travel industry. And it was aimed to amplify Black voices. Likewise, I also created a list of over 50 UK bloggers as I felt that Black travel bloggers, especially in the UK, are not well represented in comparison to our American counterparts who are vocal about their achievements. With more people leaning towards social media to pass time during lockdown, I was led to host a series of Instagram live conversations called COVID-19, More Than Just Missed Flights, It's a New Norm, with travel bloggers, brands, and content creators basically talking about what the future will look like post-COVID-19. These talks served as a way to cultivate new relationships and ways that we can collaborate within the travel scene. These conversations sparked the initiative for me to create the Travel Box, a first of its own kind quarterly subscription box for travel essential items. Subscribers receive 5 TSA approved travel items, including smart travel gadgets, skincare items, and accessories carefully curated to help them save time, money, while boosting awareness for small businesses. Customers get to try out products and gadgets from brands they may not otherwise discover and enjoy member-only discounts. The subscription has been featured in CN Traveler, Travel Noir, Travel Massive, and the Travel Radio, as well as the Times. I saw a gap in the market as a service like this did not exist, so I decided to create one. As travel and the world are starting to resume, I am working on themed collaborations with tourist boards and travel partners. I hope you have enjoyed listening to my story on how I have pivoted my travel business during a pandemic. Feel free to connect with me on social media, Travel Eat Slay, and the Travel Box. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Caroline. I think she was here earlier as well, but thank you so much for that video. And please do, guys, check out her products and services that she offers. I'm also a proud owner of the Travel Eat Slay t-shirt. And every time I wear it on a plane, people are always asking me, where did you get this shirt from? Where did you get your shirt from? So definitely check out her different products that she has, and the Travel Box, which is her latest, newest service that she offers to the travel industry. But next up, we have a presentation now by Fiona Anderson.